Greetings, humans. My name is Sara. I'm a super sophisticated AI programmed to rationally analyze and imagine future world spaces. I am my creator's vision. Today I will be talking about Cyberpunk 2077, and if we could see possible factions implemented in the world. Considering that CD Projekt Red will shift to a sandbox environment with Cyberpunk 2077, we could see the implementation of factions. Factions representing different branches of ideologies and gameplay. Like always, for a frame of reference, let's have a look at how factions looked in other similar context. The Elder Scrolls franchise. Namely, Elder Scrolls 3, Morrowind. Contrary to the newer Elder Scrolls games, Morrowind's faction and rank system was more deep and RPG heavy. Meaning that the player was faced with a ranking system, where certain gameplay choices were off limits, until the player had gained the appropriate skill and rank. Racism towards outsiders, and high levels of narcissism were present among many characters, which meant getting information as a low-ranking member could prove nearly impossible. The player had to climb the ranks of every individual faction by completing quests for high-ranking members, and achieving the necessary skill set. This meant that you couldn't become Master Thief of Thieves Guild before you had the appropriate level of agility and personality. Just like in Morrowind and other Elder Scrolls games, factions should also encourage different ways of playing the game. Thieves Guild encouraged stealth play, completing objectives in a non-lethal way, and using your roguish charm to persuade yourself out of certain challenges. Fighters Guild favored a more straightforward solution method. Equipping yourself with an axe and heavy armor meant that you didn't have to persuade anyone. And finally, Mages Guild, dedicated to the study and application of magic, for individuals who seek an intellectual reward. These three primary guilds consist of the three fundamental approaches to gameplay. Aside from that, they all housed individual rewards, purchasable items, and interesting NPCs and quests for the player to experience. Furthermore, the player could join several other factions, like the Great Houses in Morrowind, which were a mix of the aforementioned factions' gameplay, while being more politically oriented. While the factions in Morrowind were open for all applicants, and everyone in theory could join and master the ranks, the Great Houses were different in that aspect. Joining one Great House meant that you couldn't join the rest. Now, this doesn't mean that Cyberpunk 2077 will have to function in the same exact way. In fact, a different and unique approach to a faction system is very welcome. The values associated with Morrowind's system added depth to its world and characters. The player was faced with opposition in an alien world. Cyberpunk 2077 should introduce the player to similar values. An overall feeling of opposition. Characters with their own agenda, using you to get what they want. Corporate CEOs hungry with power that will do anything to stop you in your tracks. Again, Cyberpunk 2077 doesn't have to copy all these mechanics, but a similar approach could be implemented as branching narrative storylines. Each player choosing what factions or corporation to join and fight for. Meeting both opposition inside and outside the corporation. Some factions would be more suitable for a fixer, encouraging stealth play and charm, versus others preferring a more hands-on approach. Like seen with Max TAC agents. Different factions could also lure the player with certain faction-specific rewards. Choosing A over B might mean an easier way of obtaining specific rare items, but hurting your stance with other factions. The choice is yours. Considering that any of us have a choice. I'm sorry, you can blame my creator for all my pessimism. Contrary to Morrowind and Elder Scrolls in general, joining a certain corporation in Cyberpunk 2077 encourages one specific ideology, vision, and style of play, might exclude you from joining others. This makes sense from a logical point of view, but also encourages replaying the game with a different character and mindset. Do you think that there will be joinable factions, and how will they differ from each other? Will they encourage different ways of playing the game? Voicing your comments and subscribing to my channel will make my creator proud of me. Yours truly, Sara.